Hello, and happy fucking Wednesday, you guys. And welcome to People Talk Now. I'm your host, Vanessa Herrera, and this is the show where you ask about it and I talk about it. And good morning. It's been too long since I've sat in front of my microphone, and I miss it. And I know you guys are probably looking around and being like, Vanessa, where are you? I don't see your face today, but I did not feel like filming my face today. And we have to tell ourselves that that's okay sometimes. Plus, I did really miss my mic. I haven't sat in front of this gorgeous mic in a long, long time. And I love the intimacy, and I love how clearly you guys can hear me. And it's just so much more better. So yes, good morning. I hope that you woke up with a vibe today, that you woke up and you're ready to smash your goals today. And don't stress yourself too much. Don't stress out too much about this election, because remember, at the end of the fucking day, nobody gives a shit about you more than your own family. So worry about your family, stay up, stay happy, keep grinding, doing what you do. So I bet you guys are wondering, Vanessa, what are we talking about? What are we talking about this morning? Well, not to worry, because today for episode 61, that's right, you heard that right, episode 61, I wanted to talk about, I wanted to kind of open up this series this month that I started called Let's Talk About It Wednesday. So I really wanted to talk about something that I am truly, truly passionate about. And I figure what better way than to just kind of dive right into it, I wanted to talk about my thoughts on, why I don't vaccinate my kids personally. I wanted to talk about reasons, maybe if you're considering homeschooling your children, what are some good reasons as to, why you should consider it. And definitely also wanted to talk about my thoughts on the education system and, how it's actually failing our children. So, yeah. So I wanted to share a story really quick, obviously, before, I could dive into all of this as to why I made some of the decisions that I made. So way back when, my son is 11 years old now. And, there was a time, that when I was younger, that I thought the world of vaccines. I didn't know everything that I know now. And my son had got a couple vaccinations when he was younger. My daughter, up to this point, she's 6 years old and has not had a single vaccination in her life. And my son suffered from breathing issues. He, as a matter of fact, there was even a point in time where a doctor told me that I was going to have to buy him a ventilator, that he was going to have a machine of some sort to help him breathe, and just all of this. He just made it seem like the worst thing in the world, right? Fast forward to a couple years after, a year actually or so after that, I decided that I was no longer going to vaccinate my son because of all of the things that I had heard about vaccinations, everything that I had read online, the dangers. And you guys probably don't hear about it because all we are constantly being told, and all we ever hear on the news and on the radio and online and through social media and everything is just for vaccines, pro vaccines, everything. So I actually heard about this bus. I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but the bus is called the Vax Bus. And basically this bus is, travels the world, tours the world, and just kind of, gets to share stories with everyone about all the families around the globe who have been affected by vaccinations, and the things and how their children and newborns and just family members have been injured by vaccines. And so I just wanted to talk about that quickly because, naturally, me reading all of this, especially as a younger mom, this was, when my son was younger, he's now 11 going on 12, naturally you always want the best for your children. And, and I would listen to the doctors, I would listen to everybody because, naturally, when you're a new parent, you listen to what everybody has to say, all the information that people give you. Oh, you should do this for your child. You should do that. And naturally, you go along with it because you feel this must be the thing to do. Everybody's doing it, so let me go ahead and do that too. But then I started really digging deeper into this and really doing some soul searching and really doing my reading. When I realized, you know what? First of all, the human body is an incredible thing. It is an incredible machine, as the way I like to look at it. Our body responds to a lot of things, right? Especially the way that we feed our body. So I say to myself, which, by the way, I really want to also clarify that before all of these decisions that I had made about the vaccines in general, was that my son was, was still consuming regular dairy when he was a younger child, was still eating meat, things like that. And it wasn't until he was about, I would say, about 3.5 that I finally made the decision that, you know what, if I'm going to be vegan, my children are going to be this way because, I say to myself, why would I be eating healthy and then my kids are eating garbage? Like, that just doesn't make sense. And I know if you're a mom and you're listening to me right now, you understand where I'm coming from, because you're going to take care of yourself. Like I was talking to a good friend of mine the other day. I say, why would I take myself to the motherland? Why would I try to just constantly become a better person? And whether it's spiritual, physical, and health-wise, and just everything. And then you're not bringing your family along on this journey. It just seems very selfish, And so I made that decision. And of course, there's always people, especially like the more that you put yourself online, people are going to critique you. People are going to say, no, you're not doing the right thing for your kids. Well, let me just say this first and foremost. If you're a mom out there and you're uncertain, understand this, that nobody's going to ever fucking know what is best for your child other than you. Nobody, no science, no nothing will ever know what is best for your child, because that child is literally a direct link from your DNA. You know what works for your children more than anybody. Don't allow yourself to get pushed around. Don't allow yourself to get bullied by anybody, because as long as your children are healthy, as long as you're doing what you feel is the right thing, then you're on the right path. You have no need to worry about nobody. And you sure as hell don't have to allow yourself to get pushed around by these other ideas that are also being thrown at you, that if if you don't get your child vaccinated, they're not going to go to school. If you don't do this, you're not going to be able to do that. And it's constantly just a threat. Like, you're constantly getting threatened because you don't want to follow by these society, these basically rules that society keeps putting on us mothers, on us fathers, children, that if you don't get vaccinated, your children are not going to be able to school. You're not going to be able to do these things. And so luckily for me, up until this past couple years, until it was actually still a thing where I could get a vaccination exemption because of religious beliefs, I was able to do that for my son. Because, any child in the world, if you were to come up to them and say, do you want to get a shot? I guarantee you 9 out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, are going to say, no, I do not want a shot. Why? Why do you think that is? Because it is not a natural thing. It is not. Okay, but because we are constantly getting just shoved down our throat that this is the way that we must be living, this is the way things must be, then this is the way we think. And I, for one, I'm not on board with that. And I constantly have gotten shit from people too, saying, no, this is what you need to do. Oh, how could you be so selfish? No, being selfish is shoving chemicals into my child's body that I have not been, told by the doctor or the pediatrician or not getting the actual facts as to what is in some of these vaccinations. And not to mention that studies and research have been done and have been actually also linked that some of these strains of vaccines actually have animal product derivatives inside of them. And it's just, to me, I'm like, if I'm vegan, if I'm eating a plant-based life, I'm following a plant-based lifestyle, then that means also not getting vaccinations. That means not shoving this in my body. And that's just where my belief standpoint comes from. I haven't, ever since my son, since I made that decision to, for one, stop vaccinating him. Secondly, for him to become vegan and to just follow this lifestyle with me, as well as my daughter, who also, since the day she has been born, has not had a single vaccination in her body. I've had to make that decision. I've had to say, okay, they're going to threaten me with not being able to put my kids in school, then you know what? Then I won't. Then my kids will not be in the school system. Because, I'll get into that right now, how I feel about the school system. I'll let you know what my thoughts are. But before I dive into that, I'm going to tell you what has happened for my son since I made that decision for no vaccines and changing his diet. I'm going to tell you what happened to him. His asthma, his breathing problems, this machine that the doctor said that he allegedly needed, everything just went away completely. He has not been sick. Whenever he's gotten a flu, and this is for the people out there that are like, oh, you're vegan. I thought if you went vegan, you don't get the flu. No, please. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Shut up. Because if that's really what's going through your mind right now, instead of the fact that my son literally beat something that they said that, oh, he's gonna need a machine like for his life, for not all his life, but they're like, this is something that he's gonna need for his lungs and and you're gonna have to buy this machine and blah blah blah. My son has not had a single breathing problem since. He is now going on 12 years old. Has not had any vaccinations. He has just been eating good. He hardly ever gets sick. When he does, he literally bounces back in a day. And you tell me what that is. Go ahead and give me your science, what that is. Because I'm sure as hell I could tell you what it is. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Okay? And, don't feel attacked. If you vaccinate your kids and you feel you must, then do what you must. Just like I don't tell people when they tell me to vaccinate their kids, hey, don't tell me about not vaccinating mine. Because one thing I'm positive that I will do for my children is I will go through hell and back for them. And that means doing whatever it takes for them to be healthy and safe. And so my son has been good. He's not had any sickness. He's always really alert. He's actually really, really smart, thinks on his toes. And I honestly don't take back anything. I believe that this decision is coming from a place that I feel like every parent should come from this place. It's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of understanding your kids and understanding that it's just not natural. Because it seems like nowadays there is a goddamn vaccine for everything. Everything. There is something for it. And I for one, to me, it just seems so unnatural. It seems so unnecessary. And just hearing about all these stories that don't ever make it to the news. You don't really hear too much of this covered by the news. Oh, no, forbid people started talking about this on the news, talking about all these stories of all these children that have died, all these children that have gotten sick, really sick, worse than they were before they got a vaccine. Forbid anybody knew about all these stories. Oh, it was just an underlying condition. Wrong. Some of these cases, these children never even had an underlying condition. Some of these kids have ended up paralyzed. Some of these kids ended up with autism. And don't bring up the autism thing. Why? I'm sorry. Did you personally know these children? Did you personally know what their families went through? Did you know how the child actually was before they got these vaccines? No, of course you did not. Because you're also going off of speculation of things that you see online, on the internet. And of course, because they want your kids to get vaccinated. It's the doctors. They want your kids to get vaccinated. Because guess what? Your kids don't get vaccinated, they don't get paid. Nobody's getting paid. Nobody's making any money. And I know what you guys are thinking. Well, you can go get the flu shot for free. I don't know about you guys. I heard some of the best things in life for free, but I don't think that's one of them. Don't bite my head off for saying that. So based on, the whole, homeschooling thing, I said, you know what? Let me just give you guys some of the reasons, some of my reasons why I feel like homeschooling is just better for your children. So, first of all, me homeschooling my daughter, she was supposed to, before COVID, and all that, any parent would have just enrolled their kid in kindergarten. But that couldn't be me this year. And I'll tell you why. Not just because of COVID. I couldn't enroll my child in school because she would have had to have gotten immunizations. I know you see where this is going. But I refused. I refused because my daughter should not have to get shit injected into her body so that she can get an education. So I said, you know what? That's fine. You want to threaten me with immunizations, your kid doesn't get to go to school? That's fine, because you know what? Nobody can give your children a better education than you. Because making a change from a negative school environment is something that you can do as a parent. And I get it. This is where they get you. Your kid doesn't have vaccines. Guess what? Your kid or your child doesn't get to go to school. And what does that do for you as a parent? It means that you would need a teacher at home. That means you would probably have to stop working. I get that. Not everybody has that luxury. I was able to have that luxury. Because me and my husband, we made that decision together that, you know what, this is what's best for our daughter. And we're willing to make those sacrifices. If it means one of us working and then the other one stays home, that's the kind of sacrifice I'm willing to make for my child. You can get a higher quality education because when your child is in the classroom, your child is in the classroom with 30 other children. And the teacher cannot give every single child the attention they deserve. It's just highly impossible. Your child may have improved social skills interactions as well. Every time they meet my daughter, that's the first thing they say. They're like, "Oh, your daughter's so smart. Oh, what school does she go to? Oh, how old is she? Oh my God, her vocabulary language is so amazing. She just has little grown-up conversations." And I'm like, yes, because she's getting homeschooled by me. She's not being schooled by the education system. Some of the advantages of you also homeschooling your child is if your child is the type of child that needs a little bit more attention, or maybe you have a child who's disabled. Well, you know what? This is the opportunity for you to have more one-on-one time with your children. And there's just so many, one of the things that I've never personally liked about, especially nowadays, about the school environment is that, there's so many incidents where there's bullying at school nowadays, or it's so difficult for you to know if your child is being bullied at school or online by classmates, or incidents where students may tease kids, steal food or money, or inflict harm on them physically. And there's so much abusive, stuff going on in school that a lot of parents don't know about because they're in their own world. They're in their own online world, whatever you want to call it. This is like an opportunity for you as a parent to just have that more one-on-one time with your children so that you can actually see what's going on, and you can magnify their growing social skills versus being in school, dealing with the self-esteem thing, or just dealing with depression, sleeping habits that a lot of kids are, especially right now during these times, or they're just so messed up because they have to be on the computer for a lot of the time, and their eyesight is getting messed up. They're just indoors on a computer. They're just sitting at a desk. And I don't know about you, but that to me, that just seems like such a terrible, terrible way to just go about the education. And I understand that, right now this is something that has to be done because of the times we're in, but it just seems so isolated. It seems so, just habit forming almost of like kids sitting in a chair and looking at a monitor for hours upon hours, and their backs, not having good posture, and so many things that I just feel is such a negative impact on a kid's social skills, when they could be at home having great conversations with family and just learning how to be more connected and learning how to make decisions for themselves, I feel like homeschooling could be such a good like solution too for so many kids, because it removes any like psychological or physical torment that happens with bullying at school, and eliminates that fear that comes from being bullied at school, or problems that kids face in schools today, and a lot of people don't even really know about. There's even a research that was done recently that said parents who homeschool as a result of their child being bullied or have often reported that a significant amount of academic improvement in their lives as well. And it led to them having a greater personal happiness from just being at home. Why? Because it eliminates that stress from your kids, because of the, social aspect, being reduced, of them not having to worry about what their peers think of them, or all of this, the pressure that's out there nowadays. And, it gives them that opportunity to just better control over the positive relationships that they want to have, and they can make those decisions. And, I just feel like I had to come to this point where me as a mother had to say, okay, well, what is it that you want exactly, like for your daughter? Because my daughter is not enrolled in school. My son is enrolled, but, we don't really know where the future is going to lead us. We don't really know. But as far as I know, I am going to have to make that decision. And if it means me homeschooling my son as well, then that's just a decision that I'm going to have to make, because it's just doesn't seem right that we're living in the land of the free, quote unquote, and we're being forced with these ideas and saying that these are okay. Like this is going to make your children safe. This is going to make, everything okay. Your kids are going to be able to go to school and all these things, but it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel very freeing to be told that you have to do something, and I don't see the freedom in that. And I definitely don't want my kids to be in that bubble of like, okay, so this is just the way life must be, because I've always told them that they are free to make decisions, that I want them to be independent. And it all just seems really fucked up to me, this whole concept of, vaccinations and stuff. And, there's a lot of people out there that you don't know about, you don't hear about, but, I just got to say, like, with this whole vaccination stuff, we got to hit the pause button really quick. And, you don't hear about these people, but there's people out there fighting. They are fighting in the back, way in the back, and they're fighting for us moms and for us dads who believe that, I want my kids to be healthy. I want them to be happy. I want them to have better lives. But you don't really hear too often about this, because, all's people like myself and parents who believe that you shouldn't be forced to vaccinate your children, is that we're faced with scrutiny all the time and being mocked for making the decisions that we make. And, we're not, you don't they call us extremists, how we're being unfair to our kids. They say that, you're labeled as an anti-vaxxer and you don't care, or the concern of your children. You don't care about their welfare and all of these things. And it's so unfair, it's so unfair, because if you just go with the masses and you comply, everything's great. Like, you don't hear anything. But the minute that you go against the masses and what everyone else is believing, then you're the odd one out. You stick out like a sore thumb. But I just always believe that if you don't consent for something, especially here in the United States and the place where you should have the right to do what you feel is right for your child, if you don't consent for something, just like sex, if you don't consent for sex, it's considered rape, right? If someone doesn't consent, it's rape, right? So what does that say? What does that say about me not consenting someone to touch my child, to inject something into my child? But what does that say when that right is taken away? And what does that say about people that say, well, I got no choice. I'm being pushed up against the wall, Vanessa. I don't know what to do. Well, imagine how someone like me would feel, right? Because I really wouldn't. Do you think this is something that I planned? Like I would like, to be home and having to make that choice to be a full-blown teacher? But this is a sacrifice that you make as a mother, as a person who really cares for your children's well-being. When you say, I want to make sure that my children grow up to be safe and literally have the best life possible. Because I don't know about you guys, but I know for a fact that the high school education, anything that was ever taught to me in school is all bullshit, because ain't none of it has ever helped anybody. What, it's just a piece of paper? So what? So I'm not trying to teach my children that having a piece of paper validates them and that that's what's going to make them somebody, because that's not true. I'm already on the wrong foot if that's the way that I thought. But gladly for me, that's not the way I think at all. I say, you know what? Education starts in the home. Education is in the mind. And that's not me giving my children the idea that they need to be in school and get the papers and get these things. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. As a matter of fact, I applaud my children. I always push them to do whatever it is that they genuinely want to do, and let's work on that. Because I guarantee you in the school system, that's not what's being implemented. And then we go up to the next level. We go elementary, we go junior high, we go high school, okay? We go even as far as college, okay, where you are being made to pay just to try to get a degree. And then a lot of people, once they get the degree, what happens with that degree? It's just sitting there. It's just a piece of paper. Some people don't even end up using their degrees. And this just goes to show you that people make people. The education system does not make people. It's just something that I just had to say. Sorry, guys, I got getting some air. I'm not getting heated, I swear. And so, these are just things that I think about when I think about my daughter. I think about all the things. I think about the sacrifices that I'm willing to make. And that's the thing that you have to ask yourself when that moment comes and you're in the doctor's office and the doctor's trying to make you feel bad because maybe you don't want to vaccinate your child. Oh, maybe you're the bad guy. Oh, you're one of those conspiracy theorist people. Yeah, sure. Whatever makes you feel good, because people are going to talk shit regardless. You vaccinate your kids, people are going to talk shit. You don't vaccinate your kids, people are really going to talk shit. But look at how amazing my kids are. If you know me, you know how amazing my kids are. They're well-spoken, they stand up for themselves, and they don't take shit from nobody. And that's the way you should be. And you shouldn't have to walk around with fear of your choices. You shouldn't have to walk around with fears of who you vote for. None of that. Because at the end of the day, like in the famous words of my dad, it doesn't fucking matter what you choose. Because at the end of the day, you go home to your family. And that's what matters most. Because as far as I know, we work our asses to the bone. We do what we do for our family. That's who we do it for. So why the fuck does it matter what anybody thinks about you? They don't go home. They don't go to sleep with you. So what other people's opinions should never be the deciding point of what you are going to choose, because it's your life. Okay. And I hate to bring up the religious card. I hate to bring Jesus into this, but I highly doubt Jesus said it's okay for someone to put some shit into your child's body. And that alone is my determining factor, because I highly doubt, okay, that he said this is the miracle for you to be okay. Because if you just put the right shit in your body instead of all this junk food, all of this garbage that they sell now in the stores, I guarantee you that you wouldn't get sick. I guarantee you that you start to feel a lot better. Guarantee you that if you start eating right, which is what they're scared of, because this is why there's so many commercials. Burger King, Carl's Jr., you name it. I could name the whole thing. I could name it. I guarantee you that you will start to feel better. And then guess what? Your doctors are going to start missing you because they're going to say, where are you? Where are you guys? Why are you not? Like, where's all my patients? How come I don't have sick people in my office right now? I guarantee you these are the kind of things that are going to start happening. And you know what? They fear that. They fear that you're going to start taking care of yourself. They fear you. Okay? Just as much as you fear a lot of, the people that are in control right now, the people that are in control are afraid when the people start making the choices for themselves and start getting together and in line. They are afraid. Okay? And so I had to bring this up because, I constantly get asked like, oh, why don't you vaccinate your children? Oh, why would I? Like, why do I need to do such a thing? Okay. And I understand there's a lot of controversy and there's a lot of confusion as to why you shouldn't or why you should. But I'm doing what is right for my child because it is my child and I shouldn't have to feel bad, which I don't, by the way, but there is people that feel bad. And this is me reaching out to those people saying, you don't have to feel bad. All right. You got somebody in your corner. There is a way out. Okay. And it's just by you making a choice and saying, how much do I give a fuck? Like, how much do I? And it comes to you and you have to look at yourself in the mirror. You got to say, how much do I care? How much do I care right now? And so that's the point that I reached one day and I said, you know what? I'm willing to lay my life on the line and sacrifice my future to make sure that my children are the fucking best children this society has ever seen. And if it means not putting them into a system that says you need to be here sitting in a room, okay, with a bunch of 30 other kids teaching you the same thing and teaching them the same method and not doing anything new, teaching them shit that they don't need, okay, things that are actually not going to help our children. That's when the line stops for me and that's when the train stops and I say, no, you're not going to drag my kids down into this system, okay? And you can call me a crazy motherfucker and that's okay. Because I am. When it comes to my kids, I make sure that my kids have a fighting chance out there. Okay? That's what I mean by that. Like, have a actual, real fucking chance. And I'm going to tell you some of the reasons why this actual education system is failing. Because parents are not involved enough. Schools are closing left and right. Our schools are overcrowded. Technology comes with its downsides. There is a lack of diversity in gifted education. Schools spending is stagnant. Even in our improving economy, we are still using the teacher training methods of yesterday. There is a lack of teacher education innovation. There's nobody's thinking outside the box. Some students are lost to the school to prison pipeline, and there is a nationwide college gender gap. And surprisingly, we're not focusing on that. We still do not know how to handle high school dropouts. We have not achieved education equity. Technology brings a whole new dimension to cheating. Okay. We still struggle with making teachers, tenure benefit both students and teachers. More of our schools need to consider year-round schooling. Does it work? We're still wrestling the achievement gap. We need to consider how school security measures affect students, and we need to make technology more available for students with disabilities. Well, these are just some of the ways that the school's education system is failing. Okay, these are just some. There's so many other things I can think of. They're failing because they're teaching kids useless shit. Like that they're actually not going to need. They don't teach kids about financial responsibility. They don't start teaching kids about that, about computer technology a lot sooner on, because we all know that this is where the world is going. We know the direction where things are going. They're setting the way, they're putting the stones down, and they say, this is the way that I want the world to go. And they're not giving people that choice. They're just saying, okay, we're going to do it in a way so that they don't feel like they're being pushed too much, but they're pushing us just enough. By saying, okay, let's have everybody wear a mask, ba-boom, ba-bam, okay, that's great. And they are just slightly, ever so slightly, just, just making it seem like everything's all peaches and cream. That's what's really going on here. And I hate to say it like that, I hate to say it like the crazy person, conspiracy theorist person, but let's be real. If you've really been paying attention and you're reading behind the lines, that's what's really going on. So that, these are just some of the things that I've decided to share, like I try to give you a little backstory about my son, about how when he was younger, they were telling me that I was going to have to buy this machine for him, and he was going to need this for a good portion of his life, that he was going to need it at home, a breathing machine. And then from 1 minute to the next, a year later, I say, you know what, that's it. Like I'm done with my son being sick all the time. He used to have this terrible cough. It would hurt him so bad. And then the minute I say no more vaccines, I say the hell with it. And I say, you know what? I'm going to make sure that my son eats good now, that I'm not going to give him this fucking garbage anymore. His life turns around for the better, health-wise. His just complete 360. Okay? And then my daughter, not a single fucking vaccination since the day she has been born. And my daughter is she's healthy as an ox. Okay? And whenever she gets sick, she bounces right back. She was good. Why? Because our body does what it needs to do. Our body is a machine. And if you feed the machine what the machine needs, okay, you feed it raw elements of the earth, of the way it was intended to, okay, the way it's been from the beginning, then you will be okay. You will be okay, and your body will thrive, and your body will survive. And don't think for 1 minute that you cannot change your genetics, because you can. You can. It is possible. You can change the mechanics of how your intestines work. You just got to change the way you eat. You got to change the way you think. Like Tupac said. Okay, I couldn't have said any better, but he says it in such a smooth way. So please understand that everything I'm telling you, I've chosen for a reason, because you just have to fight. We have to fight for our kids. And you can't let people bully you around. Okay, you just can't. You got to do what's right for your children. And you can't be afraid of what the naysayers or what people are going to say. Because like I always tell you guys, people are going to talk shit, but nobody knows what's best for you and your children better than you. Okay? That's the way God intended it to be, is for you to be the person that's there for your children, guide them, okay? Then after they get older, they will make the decisions that they need to make on their own, okay? But all you can do is just guide them and make sure that they are safe and that they are healthy. And if you're doing just that, then you have no reason to feel bad, okay? Because I know that there's people that's reached out to me and they're concerns about vaccinations, and I'm telling you, my children they're thriving and they're good. Okay? And don't let nobody tell you that you're a fucking crazy person or that you don't care for your children, because you know what? To me, from my experience in life, is that when someone takes the easy route out because, this is what everyone's telling me to do, to me, that's not caring. Because if you, for 1 second, say, well, this is the way I got to do it because everyone's just like, saying this is the right thing to do. And if I do otherwise, then it must mean this. No, that's absolutely fucking batshit crazy. You're not crazy for wanting your child to have a better fighting chance at life. Okay, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I feel personally, and there has been research proven that, literally kids. Okay, there's been a research done that kids high school students, okay, let's just say this, homeschooling in general gives parents out there more control over what their kids are learning, okay, because you don't know how your children are being controlled by what they're learning. For so many homeschooling parents, there's a strong belief that public curriculum is not providing the right knowledge and skills for your kids. And you have every right to believe that, because I believe it to be true. A recent career and college readiness survey showed that less than half of high school students feel academically ready for college. And other surveys have actually shown that college professors believe students are less prepared for college work. And the number of college professors who believe students were prepared for a higher education has dropped from 20% to 14% in the last 10 years. With crowded classrooms and fewer resources, it is more difficult for teachers to provide one-on-one instruction to students. However, though, with homeschooling, which is what I'm doing now with my child, parents are able to use a state-approved curriculum and provide the personalized instruction that is often missing in today's public schools. Parents can also supplement their children's learning with additional lessons, and they can spend as little time or as much time as needed on each subject to ensure that your kids, our kids, are learning the material and feel confident that they have mastered the course lessons. Why is that so important? Because most of the times when your kids are in school, they are stressed. Okay, your kids are stressed. I've seen it. My son, he's currently still in school, and he's just stressed. He's online and he gets stressed because of the amount of work that they put on these children. And it is not right. And you have to be more involved in what your kids are doing. You have to be there and find out personally what it is that these things that they're trying to implement on your kids, throw on your kids, and teach your kids. Things that in the long run, they're just not happy. Your kids are miserable. Okay. And you don't want that for your kids. So, I'm just saying, really think about this. Really, really think about this. I hope anything that I said here today really made you think about why you should homeschool your kids. We have to just question everything. And I think it's become so easy for us as a society, now with technology at hand and everything. But if you were born in the 80s, you were, born in the 90s, you were born in the 70s, and you're listening to me, things were not like this. Things were not like this at all. And, we shouldn't make or force our children to transition into something that is in the long run is not going to really help our kids, personally in the long run, when they get older and they have to, maybe they want to go find a career that they like. I feel like we're giving them a better fighting chance if from the get-go we just find out what they love and teach them just that. And I know a lot of people, their concern is like, well, what if they need a high school diploma, to just get a job? Why would I want to teach my kids to just settle for that? Why would I just be like, oh yeah, just do that just so you can get a high school diploma or, blah, 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 or if they want to go to college? I want to invest my time, my money, everything to making sure that they, from the beginning, from the get-go, that they're already doing what they like and already give them an advantage and a head start. That's where my mindset's at. Where's your mindset? Where do you want to see your kids 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now? Where do you want to see? Because they're our future. These are the kids that are going to be running our world one day. And I personally don't want my kids running around like some robots here that are all giving me the same information that they learn from the same classroom. That's just the truth. Take it or leave it. Take it with a grain of salt, and and take it for what it is, But this is just my advice. This is why I've made the choices that I made, and I really hope that something I said here today really resonated with you and made you think, like, damn, like, do I really need to do this? Like, what the fuck? Like, why do I need to do this? And just really think about your kids and think about the benefits that it can have on them. And, and if you don't, then that's okay too. But that's fine. Share with somebody who is. Share with someone who's been thinking about maybe homeschooling their kids, or share with someone who maybe shares the same values about the education system, or share with somebody who also says, fuck vaccines, Because, yeah, fuck vaccines. I said it. And it's the truth. Because you know what? I'm just so sick and tired of going online and seeing people criticize it. People will talk about vaccines the same way people talk about Trump and they talk about fucking Biden. It's like no one can agree. No one can come to a middle thing. Because at the end of the day, I will say this. Neither one of those fucking candidates gives a shit about you at the end of the day because they're going to still be living their life. And that's the truth. At the end of the day, nobody gives a fuck about you the way your family does. That should be who you're voting for. Vote for your family, vote for your health, and vote for your fucking kids to have a better future. That's what you should be putting all your votes in right now. So I'm going to leave this episode and I hope that I gave you some food for thought today and say, you know what? Let me put on my fucking big boy, big girl pants today. And goddamn, I feel motivated to fucking just do some shit and put some dents into this world. So I hope that something I said here today really resonated with you. And if it did, you know what? Reach out to me. Let's talk about it. Email me at peopletalknow@hotmail.com and say, Vanessa, you know what? Something you said today just really kind of made me think. I have some more questions. Beautiful. Let me know what those questions are. And as always, you guys know that I like to leave every show with a joke and a word of the day because, you know, I like you guys leaving my show with a little bit of laughter, a little bit of humor. So let's go ahead and go with today's joke of the day. So today's joke of the day is called Dennis Gaxiola, Trophy Wife. So the guy says, I got a trophy wife. I know that's not right to say because, you know, if you're married, that's your trophy. I'm just saying not everybody gets a first place trophy. Some people end up with the plague. You marry the neighborhood hoochie, you get a participation ribbon. It's pretty fucked up if you ask me, but it was a joke of the day and I had to share it. So I hope that you got a laugh out of it. So yes, let's go ahead and move right along with today's word of the day. So today's word of the day is exult, E-X-U-L-T. So the definition is to be extremely joyful, rejoice, obsolete, to leap for joy. Did you know exult leaped into English in the 16th century as a verb meaning to leap for joy? George Chapman used it that way in translation of Homer's Iliad, to drive his own chariot through the waves. For a whirl pits every way the whales exulted under him. He interprets this use of the verb skipped around in English until the 18th century when it gracefully exited the everyday lexicon, leaving the verb's other meaning to be extremely joyful, to rejoice, to stay the course. So yes, thank you guys so much. That was today's word of the day. Exult, go out and use it in a sentence. Hashtag people talk now. And let me know how you use it in a sentence. And I'll go ahead and share you to my IG stories. And as always, you guys, thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoyed listening to today's show and you're like, Vanessa, I missed your face, go ahead and comment that below. If you want to do another one like this where it's just me talking, that's fine. Go ahead and comment that below. But if you really enjoyed today's video and it made you think about something, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It is so important that you subscribe. God damn, there goes, I can't leave the show without the sirens, right? Those are real sirens, by the way. That is not a sound effect. So, let me just go ahead and let these sirens just pass by. Let's let them serenade us for a second here. Yep. Hope everybody in the ambulance is okay. So yes, as I was saying before, the ambulance had to make its little 5 seconds of fame here on my show. I just wanted to say that, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. That's so important because, I want to grow the People Talk Now community. So it's important that you guys share it. And it's important that you guys subscribe to my channel to get the numbers up because you guys are my family. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I need more of you guys. And more than anything, before you leave, do not forget to hit that bell notification below because that little bell notification lets you guys know every time I post new content, new videos, new shows. So you don't want to miss out on that, especially if you want to be part of the People Talk Now family. So yes, thank you guys so much for listening to today's show. And I really hope that you guys are enjoying yourselves and that I just really made you think about life today. And yeah, as always, you guys, have a kick-ass Wednesday. All right? Bye.